You guys, I need to get something off of my chest. And this has been an opinion of mine that I have bottled up. I've been scared to share. Borderline. I've been scared to say this publicly because I know a lot of football fans don't actually understand the game and they would blindly reject my opinion and shit on me. But I'm sorry, guys. Attacker's bias is so cringe. And after seeing the Ballon d'Or ceremony, again, another year where it's just attackers getting glazed constantly. Yamal, Raphinha, Dembele, Mo Salah. All this glaze for the attackers, but another year where the defenders get almost little to no love, and I'm tired of it. Attackers bias is cringe. Defenders are equally, if not in this day and age, for the best teams in the world, are more important than your attackers. Defenders are equally, if not more important than your attackers. And I'm tired of living in this world. I'm tired of acting like I'm okay with attackers getting all the glaze. I'm tired. You guys, I'm defense FC. I grew up playing defense. I have a deep appreciation for the art of defending, tackling, reading the play. I have a fucking fetish for this shit, guys. I love that shit. But for the amount of love I have for defending, I get very sad and disappointed when 99% of the footballing world truly does not appreciate it. And I'm sick of it. Attackers' bias is cringe. The sport does not revolve around the people who score goals or get assists. And that's the reality I want to live in. And that's the truth. You see, that's already the truth. People don't realize that defenders are equally as important as their favorite attackers because they don't have second level, third levels of thought to get to that point. They just see who scored the goal, who assisted. Oh, they're the best. That's it. Base level, very lazy analysis of football. But for me, guys, I realize the importance of defenders. And when I look at this Ballon d'Or top 30, people are talking about notable names missing, Federico Valverde, Musiala, etc., right? And I love those players. You guys, I'm a Musiala. I am the CEO of Musiala FC. You guys, I run that shit. The stock is going public in 2 weeks. You heard it here first from the CEO of Musiala FC. Get your stocks now on cheap before he comes back from injury and lights the world on fire. But anyway, those are the names people talk about are missing from this list. But I don't see anyone talking about where's Bastoni. I don't see anyone talking about where's Upamecano. I don't see anyone talking about where's Willian Pacho. Where's Marquinhos. I don't see, other names too. But just 4 off the top of my head right now, I don't see anyone talking about these defenders. And when it comes to the final 30 nominations, I don't see anyone clocking the fact that Virgil van Dijk in 28th is absolutely diabolical. Virgil van Dijk being in 28th is an insult to the history of defending. And I'll start there. Before I get to the other thing, I'll start there. Virgil van Dijk 28th. Meanwhile, Mo Salah, his teammate, is up in 4th. Pure attacker's bias, you guys. That is the ultimate attacker's bias. Because I'm going to tell you something right now. Yes, Mohamed Salah, that first half of the season he had last year, guys, from August to December, wowzers. I mean, that was an Egyptian king. That was King Tut revived. That was King Tut part 2. That was the pharaohs of Egypt of 2,000 years ago. That was part 2. That was the level Mohamed Salah was playing at. But I'm not gonna lie to myself. Mo Salah from January to June, he fell off of a cliff. The pharaoh fell off of the top of the pyramids to the very bottom. Mohamed Salah was borderline average to trash, mid to average for the second half of the entire season. So him getting fourth, I understand. He had a brilliant, almost, legacy-defining first half of the season that he basically carried Liverpool to the Premier League title. That's the narrative. Mohamed Salah carried Liverpool. Tell me this. Who had a more consistent season playing at his highest level last year for Liverpool? Was it Mohamed Salah or was it Virgil van Dijk? Mohamed Salah or Virgil van Dijk? And there's only one right answer. It's Virgil fucking van Dijk. Virgil van Dijk was, from the first day of the season last year to the last game of the season for Liverpool, he was Liverpool's best player, more consistent player, and most important player. And I don't care what anyone says. Because sure, attackers got to score the goal, this and that. Defense wins championships. Defense wins championships. And Virgil van Dijk, as much as everyone wants to talk about how Mohamed Salah carried the attack, yada yada, this and that, as if Gakpo and Luis Diaz and all those guys weren't there, right? Mo Salah carried. How about Virgil van Dijk? Virgil van Dijk carried that defense last season. Virgil van Dijk was having a generational season last year. Genuinely, last season was one of Virgil van Dijk's best performances. Genuinely. But everyone's just okay with him being in 28th place. Everyone's just okay. Oh, it just makes sense. Yeah, Virgil van Dijk should be at the bottom. He's just a defender. He's just a defender. Yeah, Mo Salah in fourth, it makes sense. Yeah, he had a brilliant 5 months. How about the other 4 or 5 months? How about the second half of the season where Mohamed Salah dropped off a cliff and completely was playing 10 levels below his peak that he was playing at the first half of the season? How about that in comparison to Virgil van Dijk playing consistently at a world-class level week in, week out for the whole 9 fucking months? Why is nobody talking about that? Another thing, and this is going to be on defenders in general. On defenders in general. Sure, you guys. I get it. Like, you guys, I get it. Oh, Ousmane Dembele, he scored the goals, guys. He's a pressing monster. I get it, guys. Mohamed Salah, 28, whatever goals it was in the Premier League, 10 plus assists in the Premier League in one season. Oh, you guys, that's brilliant. You guys, all those goals and assists. I love it. Great. Harry Kane, all those goals. Mbappe, all those goals. Cool. I understand. Lamine Yamal, Raphinha. Oh my God, brilliant players. There is this weird take that people have that I genuinely do not agree with. And I'll loop this back to the attackers in a second. I constantly see, especially the unks of this sport, the people who are 25, the people that are like 30 plus, they consistently say, oh, the defenders of today can't even clean the boots of the defenders from the 1990s and the early 2000s. And you know what I say to that? Bull fucking shit. Bull fucking shit. You guys, I want you to realize how important defenders are today, right now, how good defenders are today and right now. And I want you to realize, especially for the top teams, I need you to realize how difficult of a job the defenders at the top teams of Europe have. I want you to really deep it. All these top teams right now, Barcelona, PSG, Bayern, Liverpool, they play probably Liverpool not as much as the other teams, but still they play a very aggressive style. They still get very high up the pitch. Bayern plays very high up the pitch. PSG, Barcelona play very, very high line. So naturally, the way these teams play, defending is already 100 times harder. Because you're constantly trying to press and dominate the other team as far up the pitch as you can. Near the halfway line, you're trying to peg them back. But you guys, I don't think you realize as a defender how much focus, how much work, how much discipline, how much skill it takes to play in a defensive setup like that. And the players I mentioned at the beginning of this video, some of the players you see in my thumbnail for this video, Upamecano, Willian Pacho, Virgil van Dijk. You could throw in Inigo Martinez in there as well. They defended like superstars last season. To play in such a dangerous, risky, high-line setup for their teams and to be so almost damn near perfect every single weekend. You guys, for a lot of these big teams in Europe, those center backs that play such a high risk 1v1 battles all game, winning 1v1 duels at the halfway line all game. I don't think you realize how important that is for the spine of a lot of these top teams today. I don't think a lot of people realize the level of defending you have to be at to play in those systems and have every weekend 8 out of 10, 7 out of 10, 9 out of 10 performances. And that's what I saw from Van Dijk last season. That's what I saw from Upamecano last season. That's what I saw from Willian Pacho last season. That's what I saw from Marquinhos last season. And I'll throw Bastoni in there, even though Inter play a more conservative setup. But even Bastoni in a conservative setup for Inter was bloody world-class last year. But people just gloss over that fact. Yes, your defender, your attackers can go and score all the goals, this and that. They make the headlines. But who is actually for these top teams doing, one, the riskiest work, and two, the most important work? It's the defenders. It's the center backs. I don't even want to put fullbacks in this situation. I'm mainly talking about the center backs. And I'm just tired of the disrespect to these center backs. People don't really realize how important they are. To defend so high up the pitch and to still produce 7, 8, 9 out of 10 performances every weekend. Meanwhile, attackers, they could get 100 chances a game, but they just score that 1 out of 100, and they're the ones making the front lines. They're the ones making the headlines in the newspaper, the headlines in the media. Meanwhile, these defenders, your Upamecanos, Van Dijks, Willian Pachos, etc., Inigo Martinez's from last season, these guys are defending 100 1v1 scenario. I'm over exaggerating, but they're defending 20, 30, 40 1v1 scenarios in duels every single game because of these highly aggressive systems that they're playing in. And they're performing 7, 8, 9 out of 10 performances every weekend. They are literally displaying defensive perfection in such a risky setup. But if they make that one mistake, guys, we'll be on the media, the people on Twitter, online, they'll be clowning them, giving them football slander names. Upa Maguire, Virgil van Disney, Will I am Pacho, whatever you want to call him. Pacho cheese, nacho cheese, whatever you want to call him. And, I even see people that glaze defenders on YouTube, people that say they know football. They say they understand that, like, oh, I don't think you guys realize how important these defenders are, yada, yada, yada. But when it comes to this Ballon d'Or time, which is why I'm focusing this around the Ballon d'Or talk. When it comes to Ballon d'Or time, when people talk about who should be in those nominations, who should be ranked highly, defenders are not getting the love they fucking deserve. They're not. And again, back to the unks. I forgot about that point. Back to the unks. The ones that say, oh, the defenders of today, they can't clean the boots of the defenders of the 90s and 2000s, Jaap Stam, Nesta, John Terry, etc., right? All those guys. But I would love to see Nesta, Cannavaro. I would love to see guys, John Terry, Jaap Stam, even Maldini, all those guys, Desai, Sol Campbell, Rio Ferdinand. I would love to see these guys that the unks are all glazing top to bottom. I would love to see these guys play in modern football and play in such risky, high-stakes defensive setups as the Bayerns, PSGs, Liverpools, and Barcelonas of the world. I would love to see how they'd cope. And I'll tell you right now, a lot of those unks, they wouldn't cope. Those unk defenders, they wouldn't cope. They would be slandered week in, week out. Now, is that their fault? No, they grew up in a different era of defending, but I just want people to realize that you can't compare the top defenders of today to the top defenders of back then. And to say that the top defenders of today cannot lace the boots of the top defenders of back then, you can't make statements like that and say you're a football fan, because defending today is so much more different. And for these top teams, the amount of risk that goes into defending, the amount of risk that these center backs are put under every single game, it needs to be respected more. It needs to be respected more. And I'm just tired of it. I'm tired of this attacker's bias. It's so cringe. It's so cringe every year. Who's going to win the Ballon d'Or? You instantly know no one's going to bring up a defender. Even for midfielders, I can make a video on midfielders, but no one's going to talk about midfielders. Everyone's just going to talk about wingers, number 10s, strikers, inside forwards. Like, it's just frustrating. And the reason I'm so passionate about this is because, especially this last season, as a Bayern fan, watching the system company wanted to play and seeing how Dayot Upamecano, when he was doubted at his most, he was completely out of the team under Thomas Tuchel the year prior to last season. To come into this Ronald Visson company, coming from a dark spot of his career and playing such a dangerous style of defending and owning it and becoming a freaking monster throughout the season last year, that's when it really clicked for me. Like, man, these defenders are really doing something special. Because as a Bayern fan, when I watch Bayern and when I watch Upamecano defend, the amount of 1v1 duels he has to partake in every game, the amount of times he is the only guy back there with like his other center back defending counterattacks, but they defend them perfectly. The amount of times he has to win physical challenges, his aerial duels, his ground challenges at the halfway line. If you miss up your aerial duel, if you don't win your aerial duel, if you don't have a successful challenge on the ground at the halfway line, with the level of play you're playing at in the Champions League, etc., you're going to get punished. But I saw every weekend last year at Bayern, Upamecano was putting up 7, 8, 9 out of 10 performances up until his injury that kept him out for the last 2 months of the season. I don't want to focus too much on Upamecano, but that's just an example. Willian Pacho just won a treble with PSG. He's up there as PSG's top 5 most important players. I'm sorry, he is. You know, when people say, well, who are PSG's top 5 most important players? They'll say Ousmane Dembele, Desiree Doué, Vitinha, João Neves, Hakimi, Nuno Mendes. But I'm sorry. One of the first guys I'm saying is the most important for PSG last season is Willian fucking Pacho. Even Marquinhos. Even freaking Marquinhos. But I'm just was watching this Ballon d'Or ceremony this year, guys, and I'm just seeing a complete and utter lack of love and appreciation for the defenders that we have today. Playing in the systems that they play in. Playing at such a high risk. I just felt really weird about it, and I needed to talk about it. And I don't care if people don't agree, but this is the truth. Attackers' bias is cringe. Defenders are equally as important as attackers, just like everyone else on the field. Your goalie, your defenders, your midfielders, and attackers, everyone is equally important as everyone. And that's the truth. And I just need to talk about this because even with goalkeepers, I think goalkeepers get more glaze than defenders. Defenders are the most center backs mainly, you know, I kind of focused this whole video around center backs. Center backs are like the most disrespected class of players in football today. And I'm just tired of it because I'm seeing genuinely brilliant defenders out there today that people don't really appreciate. The guys I already mentioned in this video. It's unfortunate, but I hope this season some of these defenders have more great performances, a whole new season of consistently dominant defensive performances. And I hope they keep having these performances until people realize the genuine impact and sheer importance of these center backs to these top teams in Europe. So that's all I want to say. It's been your boy Hokage. I'll see you guys in my next video. Like, subscribe, peace.